No bar, no pinball machines, no bowling alleys, just pool. Nothing else.
The trouble with Scotland is that it's full of Scots.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Brain is gone.
You're way off. I say you're way off this time, son.
The trouble with Scotland is that it's full of Scots.
Your assignment tonight is strategic. You can't give the enemy a break. Send them to hell.
No bar, no pinball machines, no bowling alleys, just pool. Nothing else. No bar, no pinball machines, no bowling alleys, just pool. Nothing else.
Well, good evening, welcome back, Dwight. And for some reason I've lost Virtual Pool 4 again. I don't know what the hell's happened, it's done it again. Right at the start of the bloody stream. Oh dear. Let me try the other one. Well, that's strange. The Potman Bedhead one's working. Why has it lost the game? Just bear with me. I don't know what the hell's went on with this one. Let's try it. Oh, that's weird. That is a bit weird. I'll just try and rectify matters. Just hang on a sec. Right, we should be good to go. I think that is us. I don't know what went wrong there, but anyway, it's fixed. Let me just save that before I do anything else. Right, so welcome back to VP4 TV. Welcome to Virtual Pool 4 Online. We've got the second match tonight. The first match was a bit of a disappointment. Potman didn't have the stomach for it. He'd fallen behind and decided he'd had enough. So, comfortable win for Bedhead. But now we've got a big match coming up here on the winner's side. A round 2 match, I think it was. Let's have a quick check. I'm beginning to go downhill slightly. The tiredness is coming on. Yes, it's a round 2 match, race to 15. And it's between Albinario from Sweden. Albinario going for 3 in a row here in the big tournaments against OnePocketSlim from the USA, who's yet to shine in one of these big tournaments. Slim's got all the ability. He does play in his fair selection of tournaments, time permitting, but he's yet to go really deep in one of these tournaments, and I think this is one tournament where he's got a strong chance of that happening. So welcome to anybody who's been here before or was here earlier tonight. I'm going to answer Machine's question, sort of. Machine asked, I never noticed in the chat until I finished the stream, but he was asking if that would affect Bedhead's stats. It probably will in one way, that he hasn't effectively completed a match. Potman did forfeit the match in the end, as far as I know. I don't think he quit in that sense. I don't think he did a stub where he just killed the game. Let's have a quick look. Where the hell is it? Yeah, it just ended up in a forfeit. So I don't know whether Bedhead's stats will be updated to that point. I haven't a clue. Only Steve would be able to confirm that. But the good news is Albinario's done his usual. He's just come in at the last second. So he'll do his warming up in the match. Both players are here. So we are all good to go. And we expect, or at least I do, expect a high standard from these guys. They know what they're about. They've been there and got the t-shirt, so we do expect a very high standard from both of them. But it's those little things, those dry breaks, the unlucky roll of the ball, cribbages going wrong, you know what it is, everything that can affect the way one match will go in sort of one direction and again go back another direction. Welcome to Chico. So, the room is up, one player is in, cloth colours at the right colour. Albinario is just trying his lag out, and we just wait on Slim arriving. Welcome back to LS3. No message from Steve, so again he may well still be feeling under the weather, or he may be busy. So I'll just tab out and kill Discord. Hang on a minute, get that done. Right, so we're all set, we're just waiting on Slim. No, Steve's actually got COVID, and he's got a bit of a cough and stuff, so he's been feeling a bit rough. So, Slim has won the lag, and he's going to break from the centre, although he's not coming back with the cue ball, and he's come up dry. In fact, it wasn't a great break at all the balls are still, a big clump of them clustered in the middle of the table, but the 7 and 8 are available to start with. If you can get to the 10 ball down this bottom right, the 5 ball will be available, so the first ball that needs to be cleared from this pocket is a 7. Albinario is just looking around. Again, he's doing the right thing before he commits himself to the shot. He's just looking at where the lay of the land is. He knows he's getting rid of the 7, coming out for the 8. And if he gets, well, he hasn't got right close in on the rail, so he's going to have to come back across the table and down low enough if he wants to be taking the 10, and then the 5 is available. And then after that, he has to get his thinking cap on. So he's took a bit of a risk there in trying to break things out, and he can be thankful that the 3 ball has come into play because he's on the 12, although again he's just got to be very careful to hold for that 3. It looks very dodgy, so that's why he's going to take the 3 first. Welcome to Bedhead. Oh dear. Well, there's the first unforced error, and it's come from Albinario, and I blame Bedhead for that because he arrived in the chat in YouTube or Twitch and he's jinxed Albinario, so he can thank his fellow Swede for that one. I'm taking absolutely no blame whatsoever. I never said anything other than good evening, Bedhead. So, Slim has got a fair bit of work to get done here. 10 ball is still over this bottom corner pocket, so Slim's going to have to get down nice and low to be able to get a clean shot on this 10 ball. And he's got the weight pretty good. But he's not got anything glaringly obvious other than the 9 and 6. They're both open into this pocket once he clears that 10, but it's how thin he has to play the 10 that's the problem. So he needs to decide what way he's going here. He's put a wee bit of right, so he's coming behind the 6. Now this needs to get a good line, and that isn't it. Now it would be a huge risk to try and pot this 6 and then bump the 2 and 1 and still have a shot in the 9. He's got no guarantee that this will roll nice for him. But he doesn't have an awful lot of other options on, so he can't turn his nose up at it. He's going to have a go and then just hope that he pushes this 9 ball further on down the table. If he gets it nice and thick, and it's doubtful he will, and now I haven't a clue what he tried there. I'm totally at a loss, but I'll tell you something. He hasn't really left an awful lot on, and he's also tied that 6 ball up. I'm just going to stand at the moment. It's I had my windows open today, believe it or not, because it wasn't particularly bright and sunny, although it did clear up in the afternoon. But I did let a wee bit of fresh air in, although I say I never opened my windows, but it was so warm in the house, or in this room it is, not necessarily in the house, it's just this room. It's still nudging 80 degrees in here. I'm just going to stand up because things are sticking to me, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't, as I said before, I don't, yeah, I've got damp issues there, Leslie. I won't tell you where the dampness is, but that's why I'm standing up. And I'm only sitting here in my pants. That's how bloody warm it is. You can't wear anything else. Anything else is just going to stick to you. Right, get that image in your head. Aren't you glad I haven't got a webcam switched on? No, I don't really like the windows open in the summer. It just, you know, when I get up in the morning, my eyes are streaming, the nose is running, and so I get rid of that problem by keeping the windows closed. Plus the fact with the warm weather, you keep the windows closed and the curtains or the blinds closed, you stop that blazing sun coming in. Because then you end up just living in, you might as well get out and live in a greenhouse, it's just as warm. So, Albinario is working against the break here to get this first rack on the board. And that is job done. No, wait a minute here. Hi, the 1 ball. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong bit of the HUD. Yeah, that's it. So Albinario is going to go straight down the middle as well and see if he comes back the way instead of going forward. Yeah, he's coming straight back off the pack. Now, as I've said before, I think that is a far better break to keep you away from all these balls clattering around at the top end of the table. Admittedly, you've still got to get lucky to get on the cribbage ball if you pot a ball, and he hasn't. The 6 ball isn't going anywhere. And that's always the thing that will work for you or against you. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to go with the flow, basically. Well, Slim's got all the ability. I mean, sometimes he maybe just stick his neck out a wee bit too far now and again, but he's never generally been the type of player that will refuse the shot. as most of these top players don't. But he can certainly cause problems for Albi. And Albi already is working hard to stay at the table. So that is that the 12 ball that's there. So we've got the 8 and 12, which can be made into a combo. That shouldn't be a major problem. There's a nice gap, and it's easy enough to manipulate that combo. He's looking at the 1. Now, I mean, the combo from the 15 onto the 1 is not the issue. The issue with that is where the 14 ball goes if the cue ball runs into it. Now, Albi has went for the combo in the 8. Sorry, was it the combo in the 12? Because he certainly wasn't getting on the 7. And he's missed it. And Slim has got an easy start. And as long as, well, where's the 4 ball? The 4 ball's up the table, so that's a messy shot to get to. And then, of course, this 14 ball and 1 ball need to get out of the way, because it then opens up that pocket for other balls, i.e. the 13 down the rail if he has to. So Slim will be looking to get this done and dusted and on the board. But he's got to get really nice on that 11 ball, and then of course it's down then to the positional shot to the 4, but I would think it'd be far easier to play the 4 and come up for the 11. I wouldn't fancy playing the 11, especially when you're never guaranteed to get really good on the 11. Now, obviously there, he's on the 11, but he's pretty straight, so now he's going to have to pinch a bit here and get this spin working. And the pace is not bad. It doesn't want to finish there, though. That's the worst place he could end up. And this is why it's, one roll like that has just ruined your chances of getting this rack on the board. And this is tough. These are just horrible shots to be playing. Yeah, it's so difficult. And that's Slim's chance probably come and gone in this rack. And Albinario, having a quick study of the table, he's not got an awful lot that he needs to study. He's got a simple enough 8 ball and a 7 ball to follow, and when he pots the 7, it's then up to him what he does from it, whether he's going to dink the 2 along the rail and then take the 13 and go down for the 4 and back up into the table for the 11, or vice versa. But this is almost home and dry. So if he I think he's dead straight. I think that might be the problem. No, just a slight angle he could work with. So that line that he's got there in the 13, he's going to have to leave this a bit higher than the 4, unless he wants to take a risk and try and run through a gap. Well, that was for the cribbage anyway, so that's it. That's it settled. And Slim just needs to get his foot in the door. It's 2-0 to Albinario. So, rack number 3, and Albinario has had 2 balls in the break, and he's got 2 cribbage balls, and you can certainly see the 5. He's double checking the 7 ball. If there's any doubt about the 7, then again he could play it to the rail and kick it in off the 2. Now it looks like that's what he's playing. He could also be trying just to get it into the knuckle, but he's got to hit this so soft to let the pocket take it, so that it doesn't bounce heavy off the knuckle. Or probably the simpler shot is actually picking the line there just to kick the edge of the 2 and going off it, and that's what he's done. That was a proper shot to take away any doubt. Oh, it's English women that are playing the Spaniards. They're one of the favourites for the tournament. Was that the second half? That must be the second half of the game. Put them out their misery. Oh, well, I think he tried to avoid that. That's gone wrong. It's gone wrong big time. And he's going to have to try and pick the bank into this side pocket. The 11 ball is blocking the pot up table. So he's playing the cross bank into here. And he's nailed it. That was perfect. No doubt about it. Albinario works out his shots. And stays at the table. And Slim knows he's going to have to grind out this match. He's going to have to grind out racks and be 100% on the ball every rack, because he doesn't certainly want to then start frittering opportunities away and giving them to Albinario by making errors. He's got to be clinical, because Albinario does get generous on occasions, but by that time he's usually got a strong lead, and he's played a good safety there. Slim's got nothing doing here. I mean, what do you do with this shot? Now, has that set a combo? It may well have, because that 11 ball onto the 4, onto the 14 will give the 14 ball. He needs to keep the cue ball down there, and well, he's played the 3 and the 12, but that is a backup cribbage there when he needs it. He doesn't need to disturb them. He knows that that's a set cribbage, and that's why he's played for the 1. So the 1 ball into the corner, and then he just wants to get down onto something like that sort of line, so he can make it fairly straightforward. I mean, if he went too far and get into this sort of tiny gap, he could hit the 4 direct, but well, he's maybe trying to get right through for the 13. 6.5 a dozen what way he went. He could have played either ball, but he won't get a better line than this to play the combo. And that seals the deal. And already...
Your assignment tonight is strategic. You can't give the enemy a break. Send them to hell.
Slim's got his work cut out. Into rack number 4, and Albinario's not giving him really much of a sniff so far. And what's more, he's potting balls in the break again. 2 again. And I think it's a 12 and a 9 of the cribbage balls. 12 ball is there, but the 9 ball is there, and he can't get a pocket for either of them. And of course, remember as well, we don't have jump cues in this tournament, so you're going to have to come up with some other method. And Albinario, don't forget, played an excellent safety shot in that last rack, which effectively won him it. It left Slim with nothing. And this time though, Slim's at least got a sight of a ball, and he's got the choice of playing from there or ball in hand. Now, let's see where we stand. We've got the 11 ball over this pocket. We've got the 4 ball down the table here. So if he wanted, he could just play in the kitchen from here, 4 ball up the table, and get rid of that 11, because that's a blocker. Now, again, Slim's decided to take the 11 first. So we've also got the 2 and the 13 handy. We've got that 14 ball there, but the 1 ball's down here, so there are cribbages to be made. And then we have this issue at this end of the table here, still to come. Oh, Stubb has no interest in watching these matches. He's not willing to adapt and survive. He's only got one way of playing. He's a one-trick pony, Stubb. Everybody knows that. And you know, you've seen the kind of crazy mistakes he was making last night, but he still won. He still got through. And the only real thing Stubb has ever got going for him is that is his potting ability. Everything else goes to waste because of it, and he's never adapted to getting that cue ball on the right spot a lot of the time. He's always played loose because in VP3 he could get away with it. He can't get away with it as much in VP4, and that's why he's finding it tough to get on top of these guys. There's plenty of players succumb to Stubb, but when he has to go up to that consistent level for a period of time during a match, he's found wanting. Will he change? No, he won't. It's too late in the day for him to ever change. He's not willing to admit that. The other guys are winning because they're doing things right. It's as simple as that. Or they're getting deep into tournaments. They're surviving late into tournaments because they're doing most things right most of the time. Stubb isn't. Yeah, Matt's problem happened early on, a bit like what was happening to Albie in his first match, until he decided to change his break. There wasn't an awful lot of mistakes. It was just the way the run of the ball. This is why the outcome of these racks can just sometimes be half a roll of a ball is all it takes to put you good or bad. Yeah, that's. Slim's not really had much of a sniff to really get onto this table and work the cue ball and have it under control. Albinario's just got him locked out. And this is very much another rack that's going to head south as far as Slim's concerned. Although we have 3 balls tied up in the lineup, or the stack, if you want to call it that. Although it's a pretty symmetrical stack, they all line up in a row. Now this would be risky to try and break anything in those 3 before you get on the 7 ball. Now he's staying high, and we know what's intended here. He's going to have to hope that he gets a good roll of the ball though, if he's going to try the breakout here. And this is where it's down to luck. And he's got the 3 ball free, the 5 and 6 are free. He's got a little awkward cut on either ball. The 5 ball is obviously going to be a wee bit easier. Although then he's going to brush into the 6 and he would still be in the 10. Albinario is looking at the 12 and finding a path down the table here on the short side, or the short, no, is that the short side? No, it's right in the middle. But that's a good controlled shot, good pace. And this is very much like number 4 on the board for Albinario. And for anybody that doesn't know, not that there's that many, you should know by now, Albinario is the best all-round virtual pool player, and he has been for a number of years. He will adapt to any game, and he's pretty damn good at any game. So if you come in to play him and you can't be consistent and be error-free, then your odds on getting out on top in matches like these over a distance are pretty thin in the ground, let's just say that. Yeah, Albie will play 3 cushion. He's good at 3 cushion billiards. He's one of the top snooker, but it doesn't matter. LS3, you know, any game. Albie doesn't play blackball, right? He doesn't play blackball. He's never played blackball on any regular basis whatsoever. Yet he works out a way how to handle it and deal with it, and he did that throughout the tournament. I mean, it doesn't matter. Look at what he did in the straight pool. You know, any game in Virtual Pool 4 is going to be difficult to beat. I gave it my best against Albie, but I came up short in my heyday. You know, he's just so damn bloody consistent, and he's got great touch. And that's it. You know, he's got everything. He's got everything in the locker that you need to be good at this game, or any billiard or pool game. Good control. He's got probably one of the best temperaments. You'll never, you know, he's not the guy that gives back chat or anything like that. You know, he's a nice enough guy. He's got a good nature, at least that's what comes across. And he's he's like the bloody Federer of virtual pool. He's so annoyingly bloody good. That's the thing about him. He's just annoyingly bloody good. Well, I'm pretty certain that if Albie adapted himself to one pocket, he would pick that up fairly sharpish. I don't think you would. I think if we had a one pocket world champ, I wonder what. I mean, I presume he would sign up for it. Oh, there's a good shot. I don't know whether he played it. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he played it into the side. Yeah, I mean, Albinario just will pick a game up, and he would get good at it. You know, you just have no doubt about it. Well, it's 4-0 to Albinario, and Slim desperate, and I mean desperate to get off the mark here, and it's just not falling into place. This is where you end up being like this, having to dig out shots to survive, and he's just hoping against hope that he can get off the mark here. So let's have a quick look at this end of the table here. Where's 9 balls in the middle of the table? He's dead straight, so he's probably going to have to leave an awkward shot in this 9 ball. Yeah, he's managed to nudge the 8 out of the way. But this is a tester as well. You've got to pick that line, and you can't afford to be doing an awful lot with the cue ball other than making sure you get this pot. I don't think he can guarantee he's going to put a lot on this to do much with it. He's gone forward to come back up the table, and he's having a struggle here. I mean, he's got a shot in the 4 ball, but again, he could run into the 11, but he'd probably push it to the side rail. He's got a bank on the 5 and the 10 ball over the corner pocket, and he's missed the bank. But at least he's got 3 cribbages on the board. Now, let's see how Albinario handles this situation. Well, he definitely played that just to hold off the 8 and leave himself a potting angle on this 5. But before he plays the 5, he's doing what I keep saying. He's looking around to see where he's going to have to go next. And he's going to have to be pretty damn good if he's going to have any other shot. This is where the problems start for him. Now, I think he was trying to get reasonably straight in this 1 ball to just try and drop right down on the short side of this 14. He's got a wee bit more angle than he would have wanted, I think. He's just off straight, but I think it's good enough. And that is as good as you'd ever expect. Now, he's going to brush off the 11 and squat up the table a wee bit here, I think. Like that. Well, it could have landed better. He's obviously got the 8 ball. He can squirt inside and around this side of the 7 ball. You need to put a wee bit of right in this cue ball just to help it around the angles, but it's going to go that way, and it's all about the weight. He might run into the 15, but that shouldn't cause him a problem. If anything, it might help him. So, a little bit of right English. He doesn't need a great deal, but he just needs the pace to be right for it to punch off the rail and go that way. Well, he's gone right around to try and get as far over the other side of it. The reason for that is that if he can get a grip of this cue ball, he can miss these 2 balls and try and drag it off and maybe just hold, possibly for the 11. I think he maybe thinks he can get a nudge in the 4 and it might do a noise. He is trying to drag off it just to avoid them. And again, the control is pretty good. He can roll the 11 in, roll over to the side, and now what's he doing? He's looking at the 4. I don't know whether there's an awful lot to look at. To me, you just roll the 11 and roll across and you're on the 4. He's jabbing back. Could have done with coming back another. He could have come back to the rail there off that. He'd have been fine. But he has the angle to drop onto the rail because, of course, he needs a respot here. And this is painful for Slim to watch because he had his chance. And it's another one that's got away. It's now 5-0. And something has gone. But look at where the cue ball's finished. And one thing's for certain, Albinario isn't potting the 6 ball. Well, good evening to Sylvia. Well, Slim needs a break. He needs something to happen for him. But at the moment, if he's relying on favours from Albinario, he ain't getting jack. And look at this table. I mean, even with ball in hand, if he wants it in the kitchen, he's got a total mess of a table that he'd have to sort out here to get this rack. And when you come to the table and you're 5-0 down, everything else just looks complicated. And I don't think it could be much more complicated than this setup. You've got clusters of balls. Things need to be bumped and moved. And we all know the risk involved doing that. You need a lucky roll. But Slim can only just stick to his guns and do his game and keep that cue ball as tight as he can, just to try and find a way into the game. Nice little bank. The bank was for the cribbage. And now, with the cue ball running loose, he's got problems. The 8 ball and everything else is tied up here. And this is... well, The 10 ball, if he plays that, he'd have to dig into it and again just hope he got lucky, and it's asking an awful lot to get any luck out of them the way they're sitting. And he's just trying to leave it the way it is. Now Albinario could do a stub here and just try and come off the 1 ball and disturb something. Now the other thing is, he might not need to if he can come back and see enough of this 14 ball to play it up the table. I know I'm not quite sure what Albinario tried there. He get too much into the cue ball. Suddenly I've got the hiccups. Now, does he think he can still see enough of that to actually cut and pot it? This would be some shot. There's just an edge of this 14 ball showing. It's a thickish edge. Yeah, he's decided it doesn't go. So this is going to be one of these tactical racks. And once again, Slim has that ball in hand option. How aggressive does he want to be? Well, there's no doubt that he can make the combo with the 15 and the 12. That's not the problem. The cribbage ball's locked away. And Slim tried to get as much out of that as he could. At least he can see the 5 ball. But he doesn't want to disturb it. He's going to have to sacrifice ball in hand again. And Albinario, though, with ball in hand, may well be the aggressor this time. He might take the risk here. That looks to be what he's lining up here. The combo on the 12 and hoping he gets lucky. Well, he's made the combo. The 3's pretty much stayed where it was. But can he get enough of that for it in the side? This might be just as similar as the last shot. I don't think he can get enough of it. I think the edge that he's seen would push it to before the middle pocket. It looks like it, unless my eyes are deceiving me. Yeah, he actually hit the 1 first there. 15 ball is hanging over the top pocket now, or the bottom pocket, depending on what end of the table you're looking at. So, Albinario was committed there. He's now opened up these balls. Let's be honest, they've not all got a pocket. There is issues with blocking balls, but it's a better table than Slim has seen for, what, how long have we been on since? We've been on for about 45 minutes, and I don't think Slim's at a table as good as this in all the duration of this match. And immediately he's got himself in trouble. He's left himself way into bedhead territory with this 7 ball. Is that going to hold it? No. And there it goes. He's left himself way out of shape on the 7 ball. And the only saving grace is that these balls have suddenly got clustered again. They're now a lot uglier than what they were before there, and that still might just save Slim in this rack. The way they were lined up, there was still sort of blockers, but they were a bit more open than this, so they've now gathered again with that last shot that Slim played. So it might have just given him a lifeline. And we'll see what Albinario is going to do to try and whether he wants to attack to try and get this rack done and dusted, or whether he wants to just pot the 15 and get it back into the line and not take any risks. And he's quite right in doing it. He's leaving the aggression up to Slim. It's whether Slim wants to stick his neck on the block and try and risk all to get himself on the board and just lose racks because of it. And Slim's got to be patient. He has to be patient. If he starts pushing the boat out, well, let's put it this way, he could be a hero, but he's more likely to be a numpty. That's probably the easiest way to explain it. And he's played the aggressive shot there, and he's almost nailed to the 12, and this is so difficult to read because he's got little or no room to make that hit point in the 12, and this is just sort of pick the angle and guess. Simple as that. And that is why it's so damn difficult to play those shots. And immediately, what I was saying is about being aggressive. He tried to be productive. He didn't get the lucky roll. And Albinario now has an easy cribbage to get started. But what's more, Albinario can leave himself an angle on this one ball to certainly disturb stuff here and go for the kill. I mean, this is like watching a surgeon just slowly dissect OnePocketSlim in this rack. Slim's made the move, it's backfired, and now Albinario is going for the jugular. This is a big breakout shot. And well, it hasn't worked out perfect, but it can be dealt with. The only thing is, though, that balls that are in the open have got cribbage partner balls stuck together here. We've got the 6 and we've got a tight 9 that you can get into. Now, once the 9 goes out of the way, these troubles are over because that 5 and 3 are wide open. Well, you begin to wonder in what way Slim is going to get off the mark in this match. But as I said, you just got to just keep focused on and do the right things as often as you can and cut out any errors. It's a tall order because you're feeling the pressure in the situation as well, just to try and now you're trying to make this score look decent at the end of the night. Even at this stage, you just want to make it look respectable. But there's nothing to say that if Slim, can't get off the mat, if he can get off the mat, there's nothing to say that the break might work for him and then he might get a few rolls where he can get some easy cribbages and maybe get a couple of quick racks on the board, and all of a sudden he's in the match. But how long are we going to have to wait for that to happen, and is it ever going to happen? Because this is clinical. Oh, good evening to Brain Fell Out. I never noticed you arriving there. I just saw the top end of the chat there. I'm too busy focusing on this. So it's now 6-0 to Albinario. And Albinario's break has come up dry. And the cue ball is right in the heart of the table. Now, straight away, if we look at this line of balls, the problem is, if it comes to the count, the 9 ball doesn't go. The 13 ball does, and you can easily get a nudge if it ever comes to that. But at this moment in time, Slim doesn't have to be bothering about that. He has to try and deal with what's here. The 5 ball's blocked by the 3. He's got an awkward 8 ball if he's ever going to try and get to the 7. The 1 ball is awkward because it only goes to one pocket and it's tough to get to. And the 14 is obviously over the pocket. Again, Slim is asking for a break to get a half decent table to give him a chance, and he ain't getting it. He just isn't getting it at all. Yeah, you know, he needs an easy rack. Well, we all need an easy rack. You know, and it's asking a lot with this situation. I mean, this is going to be some rack to find 5 cribbages on this table. But like I said, and I'll keep saying it, you've just got to keep your focus and try your damnedest. And keep trying to do the right things more often than not. Well, now it's suddenly got tough because he's awkward on the 5 ball. The 10 ball is clearly in the open, but the shot he would play in the 5 ball would mean he's just running straight into these balls and relying on luck. And you can't be relying on luck. He's now trying some sort of shot to get the cue ball up table. And if he doesn't hook himself, well, that's a good shot. Got himself down on the 1. And now he can run into the 8 ball if he wants. There'll be no harm done there. Well, he's gone to the rail and come out. He's clearly got other ideas. 13 and 2, because we know the 13 goes. Is whether he wants to risk brushing that 9. Well, you see, he hasn't risked brushing the 9. And unless something's changed here, as far as I'm concerned, that 9 doesn't go. And I don't know whether Slim is aware of that. He's on 3 cribbages. This is the 4th. Well, he doesn't need to disturb the 9 because the 7 and 8 are still there. And the 10 and 5 is still there. So he doesn't need to bother about it. He just needs to mind his business and get this done. And that'll get him off the mark. And then now this is where he needs an immediate favour from the break. He's now got control of the break. He's off the mark. And he needs something nice to happen for him. I think the 2 ball's going as well. I think something else went. The 2's gone. The 8's gone. And of course the 7 isn't going anywhere, and the 13 isn't going anywhere either. Oh no, it is, it's down here at the bottom. I thought that was the 11. Well, at least he's got a cribbage. But how the hell does he get onto that 7 ball? Because that's the next ball he needs, and it's not really going anywhere, is it? I mean, it does go into the corner. And immediately you see this position, you're thinking, look at these balls. I mean, all these balls are fairly open one way or another. And you're thinking, how do I keep this safe? How do I stop Albinario with ball in hand? Unless I can come up with a cut up the table on this 7, because that's the only pocket it goes to, and he's simply got to get it. And I think I've always got the opinion with this is you look at the line and you go with your first instinct. Yeah. Again, such a tough cut. And he's now thinking 7-1. And you'd think Albinario is more than good enough to find his way through this lot. So he's gone for the ball in hand. Taking the 9, looks as if he's just going to roll through for the 6 into the opposite side pocket. Now he looks as if he's doing something else. I think he's just getting as close a line to that 1 ball as he can, just to shallow the angle. And just use the angle that he does have off that rail to get the cue ball off it. Well, he's overcooked it. He's overcooked that by quite a bit. Because this is not what he wanted. He wanted to be finishing here, at worst. And now it's a blind pocket cut. And the cue ball, well, he's dragging this off here. I don't know whether he might be trying to run into the 1. Yes, he is. And he's back in full control. That's a 12. We've got a cut in the 14, 1 over the side, not a problem. We've got the 8 in the open and the 7 up the rail, not a problem. We've got the 11 down here, 4 ball, very adjacent, not a problem. And it ain't looking good for Slim in the rest of this rack. I just had to take my headphones off there to try and let my ears dry out, because my ears are all sweaty with my headphones on. So the little dink in the 11, as I said earlier, a 4 ball, very handy. Albinario goes on to cribbage number 4. And now he's going to play presumably the 10 ball, just to come out into the table behind the 15. Right out into the middle of the table. No, he's checked it up to go the top side of it, but it doesn't matter. He's right on the money. And it's 7-1. But that all came about from Slim getting himself out of shape. And it cost him big time. And these unforced errors, these mistakes in positional play, they're emphasised even more against a player like Albinario. You give him any sort of sniff, and that's a dead set combo, that 14 ball. But even though Albinario's came up dry, once again Albinario's leaving such an ugly table and making it so difficult for Slim to get anything out of this. I mean, the combo's fine. That isn't the problem. What the problem is getting this cue ball into play to see this one ball for the cribbage. Well, he's just got there. But it's another one of these wee tricky ones. And again, once he plays this, where's his next cribbage coming from? Because he can really only focus on the pot. He can't be trying to do great things with the cue ball. I think, you know, at best, if he finished out into the table here, he could pot the 7 and stun across for the 8. And I think he's overhit. In fact, he's missed the pot anyway. But I think that's maybe what he had in mind, to try and possibly play that 7 and hold for the 8, but he overcut the 1 or undercut it, one of the two. And again, the chance is gone. They're coming very few, but when they do come, Slim isn't hanging around at the table long enough. He just cannot get shape, or at least a workable shape that he can be assured of getting on the next ball. Well, he got the set up for the shot in the 7. Albinario stunned in to the balls to hold for the 8. The 15 ball, the fact that it has to be the last ball is absolutely no use where it's sitting, because the 13, the 11 and 4 are tied up as well. So it's another one of these where there's work to be done. Now I'm looking at the 12-1. That's getting a fair bit of knuckle, that one ball, and the 12 is fairly tight to it. But I think the other problem is that the 9 balls are, the 13 balls affecting how much of this 12 ball that Albinario could get to. So he's given this a lot of thought. Obviously, there's a 5 ball there that does have a sort of pocket and a half. It's got that pocket and half a pocket that side, but the 10 ball's way down the table. Oh, he didn't want to hit the 3 ball, and he's overcut the 10. So it's one of the few errors that Albinario has made tonight. And I'm looking to see how generous Albinario has been. The 13 ball is too straight. I mean, although it pots, and he's fairly close to the rail. Oh, he's trying to run the 12 in, I think. I presume that's what he tried to do, rather than run the ball onto it. But Albinario can see the 3. But I don't think there's enough. I mean, maybe Slim just actually trying to play the safety there, because he's certainly not left anything great to go for here. Albinario's obviously can pot this 10. He's looking to go possibly 2 rails or 3 rails, and he's ran into the 9. That wasn't the plan. The plan was to miss the 9, hit the rail, and come across to be able to get on that 5. So well, that 5 will go into that pocket. It's got to be sweet as a nut. He's decided to play, I presume, the bank. But this table doesn't, it just doesn't ever seem it's going to get any better looking with these two sets of clusters that we have. It's one of these horrible setups where you just know you're going to have to be taking risks and getting luck. Well, that's at least one cribbage on the board. But there ain't a lot doing here. I mean, I'm assuming he could see that there was a 9 ball there. He's on the 6. So now he can get a second cribbage. He wants some sort of angle on this 9 ball, I think, to run into something here. You've got to try and do it off the cribbage ball, and he's going to have an angle. And he can go a couple of rails here to try and do some damage, I think. This is where he's got to make some sort of move. Unless he does, he ain't going to be at the table much longer. I mean, there's nothing else on here without some damage happening. Well, let's see, we know the 11 goes, we know the 4 goes. But ideally you would want to play this 11 ball back into this pocket. It's not a nice ball to be trying rolling up that rail, and he hasn't hit it. He tried to be cute, and he hasn't went through with the shot. He was trying to leave it on this bottom side of the 11, and this is tricky. And Albinario is going to take on the shot, and that's just going to hold enough. And now Albinario, likewise, is going to give this a little bit of a smack, just to move things into play. And this 1 ball, I was going to say if it locks up in the 2 there could be problems, but it hasn't. And already Slim is resigned to going further behind. Welcome back to Machine. You asked a question at the end of that first stream I did tonight, Machine, and I never noticed it until I actually quit the stream. You were asking if that 4 foot by Popman would affect Bedhead's stats. Only Steve could answer that 100%. I'm not sure. He certainly didn't quit the match by bailing out and shutting down the game. He just conceded the match and forfeited in the proper manner. I don't know whether Bedhead's statistics will update for the amount of racks that he played in the match, or whether they're scrubbed altogether. As I said, I would need to ask Steve that. It probably will mess his stats up, but I can't give 100% confirmation on it. So we are an hour and 10 minutes into this match, and it's looking grim. Exceedingly grim for OnePocketSlim. I know it rhymes, but it wasn't meant to. Because this is another one that has got away. And Slim has contributed in a number of these racks going to Albinario. He's just not getting that good positional shot. He's leaving himself in awkward places. Once again, though, Albinario's came up dry, and again, these balls are not spreading far. Albinario's leaving Slim loads of work to do, even when Slim does get a chance. That's one thing that you notice with this rack. These balls are all, they've all got spaces between them, but movement is tight in and around that top end of the table. He's got an obvious 13-2 combo, but even with that shot, he's almost got himself in trouble. In fact, he may well be tight here. Yeah, he is in trouble, and he's brushed the four, and I think it's got the legs. Has it? No, it hasn't. And immediately Slim has just tripped himself up. And Albinario has got his man where he wants him. It's the way these balls are now, Albinario's now going to do a dissection of this rack. You think that the racks? I never looked at the stats anyway, Bedhead, because I didn't know what numbers you were on at the start, so I wouldn't have a clue whether anything updated and been able to read and understand that. But I'll go with what you say because I haven't a clue. So 7 ball, 8 ball to follow. And this must be. Has anybody ever seen The Marathon Man? That film with Laurence Olivier as the Nazi and Dustin Hoffman, whose brother was what's his name? Him that was in Jaws. You ever seen that film? This is a bit like watching the dentist scene in that film. Well. I may well have jinxed Albinario there because he's missed the 13 ball into the side, and there's just a little glimmer of hope. What the hell's happened here? Did he fluke it? What did I miss there when I was playing the replay? Somebody must have been paying attention. Did that 13 ball hit the knuckle and go into the corner? Goodness me. He's bloody well fluked to 13, hasn't he? Well, that's one thing you can't be doing with. Stubb would have had the room chat actual all shades of the rainbow after that shot. He fluked it in the corner, yeah, he missed it in the side and it ran across into the corner. Good evening to Cobra. And, well, just when I thought there was a glimmer of hope there for Slim, it went poof. As quick as I mentioned it. It's 9-1. But once again, Albinario has come up dry. This time he's got the balls opened up, but what has he got, Slim? What is there for you to get you started? And again, looking at the table, not an awful lot. I mean, this is... well, where's the first ball for a pot, let alone a cribbage? I mean, he's got a 14 ball. But look at where the one is. It's right in the middle of the table. and it's only available, well, it is in both side pockets, but you've just got to get on it somehow or other. You've got the 7 ball and the 8 ball. Well, once again, I don't know what Slim tried there. I'm at a total loss as to what he's trying to achieve here. And I think Slim's head's a bit scrambled with this. I think it's affecting him more than we think it is. He's tried a thin cut into the side, but I don't think that was ever on. And there's once again the chance, albeit not a great one. It just goes in the blink of an eye. And Albinario is just looking at the situation as to whether he wants to play from there or go into the kitchen. I presume he can see the 8 ball into the side, which he can. He would need to come back into the table for the 7 if he did that. But if he takes ball in hand on the 7, he then would have to be careful that he could find a way out of that corner clean to be able to get on the 8 if he did that. So I think he's thought of another option. But again, looking at the table, doesn't look all that great. Well, the 12 is tight, very tight. And there's a strong chance you'll actually overcut this and hit the 10. But was there ever a doubt? Well, I think you should watch the first part of the match, Cobra. But Slim has had very few, what you would say, good opportunities, and when he's had a chance, the table's been ugly. He's gotten himself in trouble, and the chances have just come and gone so quickly for Slim in whatever racks he's had a sniff. But on the other hand, Albinario has just been, as I mentioned earlier, he's just been like a surgeon. 3 or 4 swift cuts and the damage is done and the rack's over. And again, it's just an object lesson in picking your way around the table, doing it at a steady pace, repeating myself again, knowing where you're going once you've played that cribbage ball. It's a bit like orienteering. Has anybody ever done orienteering? Where you've got a map and a compass and you've got to go to certain checkpoints. This is exactly what it's like. Each time you move the cue ball, you're moving to the next checkpoint. And if you do that right, you'll get to the end point, which is winning the rack. And like orienteering, if you miss a checkpoint, you fail. And if your compass, if you can't understand your compass, you usually end up lost as well and having to get rescued. Well, Albinario is now 10-1 in front. He's had a ball in the break, which was the 2. He's corner hooked anyway to prevent him from seeing what looks to be the 13 up there. So Slim's going to have a chance. But Albinario is just, well, I think he might have tried to tie another ball up there, I don't know. But anyway, Slim has taken ball in hand in the kitchen. And again, we've got two clusters more or less, that will cause an issue. Because he's going to need something out of one of those set of clusters. Right, so 12 ball for the Cribbage and 4 ball are in the open. Well, if he took the 1 ball, he's taking a big risk with that. Yeah, he's making sure he gets up the table, but he's got to get up and get far enough, and he hasn't got into it. He's actually, I think he needed to get. I think he get far too much draw in it and not enough spin to get this cue ball's reaction off the rail. It has died and went too straight. And that's just asking too much. And there's an inevitability about the way this match is tracking. Slim just cannot get into gear. And it's now becoming apparent that more often than not, it's now self-inflicted stuff. It's not the fact that balls aren't there to be potted. It's just that he can't find his way to them now. Alright, thanks for watching LS3. I missed that. I don't know how long ago that was said in the chat. So the 10 ball gets Albinario's first cribbage. And now this is where, if he plays the pot and the 1, he's relying on a nice roll of the ball that he'd be able to see that 14 if he plays that. If he plays the 1 ball, he could blast it and do a stub and hope that the 14 ball doesn't get moved and he has a sight on it. This is all relying on luck. And you see he's done exactly that. He was hoping to get a breakout and hoping to still be able to see that 14. And now Slim comes to the table, 1 crib each in this rack, and looking to find a way to get his second 1 on the board, which he should do with the 6 and 9. He's got the, what ball's that? Aye, that's 11 and 4, so he's got another cribbage there. He's just got to be delicate with this. And this is just a wee bit straight, and he can pinch a wee bit to give him the angle with a nice little firm stun. And so far, so good. Problem is, 14 ball needs to go out of the way. And this is the other problem, is that the 7 and the 15 ball are obstacles to getting the cue ball out. Now, I'm assuming that Slim tried to get good in the 1, which he hasn't. But he's fortunate he can still see an edge of the 14. And this will take him to his 4th cribbage. And then it's going to be 7 and 8, you would think. because they're the two balls with the least amount of problems for him to get the both of them. Well, it is. Well, it's been a long while anyway, but it is just damage limitation here for Slim. He's just trying to get a few more racks on the board for respectability. He's had a ball, goodness knows what it was, but that kick on the cue ball there behind the 9 has actually killed any chance of him getting on the 2. Now, I wonder if you guys are maybe coming round to the opinion that maybe it wasn't such a great idea to turn jump cues off in this game, considering the fact that you're going to be unlucky to maybe be ending up hooked on a ball from the break when you're looking for a cribbage ball. I think that the difficulty tariff in this game has been pushed right up by the fact that jump cues are not in the equation. And maybe they should have been. I don't know what you think. I mean, it's the unluckiest part of the game is a good break with 3 balls in the break. You can't get to a cribbage ball. That adds to the frustration. But at least having a jump cue gives you something in your armoury to try and deal with the odd shot now and again to stay at the table. Well, you must not be working tomorrow, Cobra, if you're on at this time of night. I'd be in my bed a long time ago, an hour and a half ago, if I was at work tomorrow. Oh, what's Slim done here? What's he done here? Let's have a look. And again, he's finding himself with careless shots like this, where he's nailed to the 9, absolutely stuck on it. I mean, that's a touching ball in anybody's language. He's absolutely locked to it, and now he's having to do the bedhead escape. Oh, little nudge off the 10 will help him. How's his luck with the kick here? Well, he's kicked in behind, and he can at least see the 14. Well, I tell you, he's hanging on by the skin of his teeth here. His fingertips, that's what he's hanging on by, not the skin of his teeth. And that almost went pear-shaped. He done his best to try and mess it up, but he's got over the line, and it's rack number 3 in the board. Well, all he needs is another 7 of these with a ball and a shot on the break, and he's laughing. And would you believe it? He's going to have to dig out a combo on this 1 ball, which is not that difficult. He's in as good a line as he's ever going to expect to be able to dig this out. And played it well. Now we've got the 5 ball over the pocket, the 10 ball in the open, Now, what does he want to do? Does he want to play the 6 onto that 5? Because the 9 ball is very adjacent, and he doesn't want the 6 to go in. Well, if it goes in, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, he's playing the 9, but the fact that he's left the 6 there, he can just dink the 6 in and come out. I think that's what I'd be doing. I'd be dinking the 6 in to get out rather than playing the 9 to leave the 6. For that reason, where if you got the pace wrong, you could end up hooked behind the 7. And now he's absolutely stone dead straight on the 6. Well, I still say I would have taken the 6 just to know that I'm coming out. I don't like this. He's played the combo and the cue ball running loose. Now, what we got? We've got an 11 ball that's down the table, a 4 ball that's up the table. We've a 12 ball that's down the table, a 3 ball that's up the table. We've got a 7 ball that's here and open, and an 8 ball that's dodgy to get on. So he's got to get the position good, and that just needs to keep rolling. Or you just get back from work. Well, McDonald's must shut at, 10 o'clock then, in your area? You know, by the time you've done the tables and chairs and all that stuff and cleaned the kitchen, it's usually about 10:30, 11:15 by the time you get out. Well, I don't want to tempt fate here. I'll just keep my mouth shut. But it's 2 racks in a row for Slim, and that's something he's never done tonight. And I think his run may be over. It's dry. And once again, all these balls have all stayed in the top half of the table, or the bottom half, depending how you look at it. There's not a ball that's in this bottom half as I look at it. They're all on the halfway line or up top. But there's enough manoeuvring space there for Albinario to get to work on his surgeon style of play. He's now making the cribbage with the 1. I'm just thinking, where's his next cribbage coming from? He's got the 4 and the 11 handy. He's going to have to get rid of the 8 ball. I would think 7 balls in the table and get a few pockets to be played into. He's actually got himself dead straight on that 8 ball. That's the thing he doesn't like about it. So I forgot he had to still pot the 11. And now he's getting rid of the 7. Now, this has to be done carefully to either find a gap or come back to more or less where he is. And he's stunned it for the gap. Now, is he wanting to come back the way or come through the gap? Because his problem now is that the cribbages are he's going to have to land in a spot to get the cribbage now. And I don't know that he's got enough angle in the 5. It looks too straight to do anything and stun across for the 10. He's got the 6 ball, which shouldn't be a problem, and plenty of room for the 9 ball to go between the 13 and the 5. He's looking at the 12 and just coming up the table for the 3. So he's picking his way through these. Well, he's going to just stop it again for the cut in the 12, but 6.5 a dozen. But this rack is pretty much over. And we will have a look at the stats after this to see where Albinario's gone. I mean, Slim's the one that's had a run out for a break. I don't know whether Albinario had a number of run outs from the break. I haven't been counting them. It seems as if he's had 3 or 4, at least. So we'll see how that affects the stats after the match. I don't know whether anything went in this time, and it hasn't. But it's 11 racks to 4 in favour of Albinario from Sweden. And Slim. Now, did he take... of course, it was a dry break, so he just has to play from where he is. I'm forgetting it. He never potted a ball, so it's play from where you are. And again, the table is such a mess with little or no option for anything. I mean, the 2 ball is open, but he's too straight in the 2 to get good on that 13. Now, that's the 10. And the 5 ball's down there. Now, he'd play a big risky shot here if he tried to spin to the rail, hit the rail, hit the 6 and nudge the 10 in. Well, he's hit the 6 and nudged the 10 in with it, but he hasn't got the lucky roll on the 5 ball. It was a tall order to come out smelling of roses in that one. Now, I don't think he has any option other than to get the cut going and hit the rail, hit the 6 and go in off it. I don't think he'll be trying to squeeze this in clean. He's got to hit the rail. Well, maybe he should have took my advice, because I don't think he had enough room to get that in. I think he had to bump the rail, hit the 6 and use that 6 ball to help it into the pocket. So that chance is gone. And once again, Albinario is just using the Alt button to study the table before he then commits to a shot, whether he's going to play from there or play ball in hand in the kitchen, which he's decided to do. And he's just played the little combo to get rid of the 5, roll through for the 10, and give himself a dead set cribbage to start with. Now he's also going to have another combo if he wants at some point to be able to pot the 12, but he must keep that cue ball free and clear to be able to play the partner ball, the 3 ball, which is wide open. And now I think maybe, well, now that he's got the 13 and the 2, I think he might have second thoughts about how he's going to take this 12 and 3. We've got the 14 and 1 available. He might not even need to get to these. He's got the 14 and 1. What's he on? He's on his third cribbage now, so 14-1. I'll give him 4. And he's going to have to play this combo, I think. Well, he's dead straight in this 3, so the big draw, just to get into the clear, to be able to see the combo. And it's going to be an 8, 6, and cannot miss 12 ball to take him to 4. A wide open 8 ball, 7 ball up the table, so a little dink behind the 11, I would think. And he's on to number 12 in the rack count. Well, Albinario has had a fair share of dry breaks. I don't know whether he was still breaking centre ball there, but suddenly, if it is, the centre ball break isn't working either. And, you know, and I think, well, it has to be said, pretty much all of Albinario's breaks have been so ugly when they've came up dry. Slim's had nothing. And I think if you re-watch this match, the tables have been so awkward. Nothing sitting nice for Slim to get off and running. I mean, he's got an easy 1-2 combo, and he's got a 13 ball over the top right hand pocket, so there's an easy cribbage to start. But or is that the 13? No, I'm wrong. It's the 11. That's the 11 ball, so forget that idea. It's even uglier look than I thought. 13 ball doesn't go anyway. Oh, this is downright horrible. What the hell is there to be had here? I mean, he can play a combo onto the 11. But look at the 4 ball. That's no good. Well, I don't know what advice you give Slim here, because there's absolutely nothing. 3 balls hidden away. 12 ball does pot. Forget that. Well, good luck. Well, we know that 12 ball does go up by the 5 ball. Slim obviously can't see the cribbage ball, which is the 4, which is hidden by the 13. And he's just looking to get the ball on the spot, or the 2 balls on the spot, just to make it awkward for Albi. Oh, this is a great match for how the frustrations of cribbage can affect you, the way it goes over the distance. You know, Slim's made his fair share of positional mistakes. Although his chances have not been a lot, he's found trouble too many times when he has had chances. But more often than not, Albi's dry breaks have been absolute garbage in terms of what's been left for Slim. He's had very, very few pickings to go for. Albinario's got himself geared up for the task in hand here. So he's went for the breakout there just to get a wee bit of movement. That's freed up the 8 ball, it's freed up the 14. So he's now got a simple cribbage that way. 8 ball though is again just awkward to get to. 12 ball goes still, nothing's been moved there. But this is a problem, and that's a problem. But Albinario, if he gets nice on the 1, can try the breakout here. I don't know whether he actually is going to a great deal of benefit from it. Not when that happens. Well, the 12 goes, but Slim's got an awful lot to do with the cue ball here to come back up the table for this 3, which is hidden behind the 8 ball, I think that is. No, is that the 4? It's a 4. Well, he's played the bank, he's missed the bank, and well, the 2 things about that shot both went wrong. He missed the bank and he can't see the 3. So it's going from bad to worse for Slim. And I think the sooner this is over for him, the better for his mental health. Because I think this is one form of torture he doesn't want to suffer much more. Well, he needs to break something. But Albinario is deciding that the easiest thing to do first is to make sure he gets on the cribbage ball before he makes that commitment, and the cribbage ball's going to be that 12 now. He needs the angle to do the damage. Now, he has tried to be cute there. He was trying to hold this sort of line where he could run the 12 in and run into them, but he's underhit it and got himself in trouble. But he won't be that bothered because everything's locked up. But Slim now has to be riding his luck big time if he's going to try and pot the 12. In fact, let's have a look at that 3. I think the 3 goes. I think that 3 will go. Now, it has to be said, he's not playing the line to roll through for the 3. Maybe he thinks it doesn't go. And it certainly doesn't go now. But I don't know whether he wanted to give that another look, that 3 ball. I convinced myself it may well have just went. Or it could have been billiarded off the other ball if he'd gotten himself down there in decent shape. But from looking at it from the corner pocket, it looked as if it went. Well, again, there's no real advantage in playing from where he is up there or playing from the kitchen. There's not a lot on. You ignore the 15 ball, of course. There is just nothing that's going to get you off to a good start. What's he looking at here? Is he looking at 2 ball for the 13? That's what he's looking at. 2 ball goes in. He's got the 13, but it's really only going to get him his third cribbage. It's not a rack decider. The question is how much does he want to work this cue ball, because it's going to have to travel, and he needs to watch he doesn't scratch on the side, and he almost did, but having missed the 13, Albinario is sacrificing ball in hand if Slim wants it, which he's taken, but again there is nothing to be had other than a pot and an 8 and a pot and a 7, and no chance of getting a cribbage. Let's be brutally honest. Look at that. I mean, there's nothing there for him. Again, Slim just trying to be productive and get a roll of the ball, and he said nothing again. Well, I don't know that was all that wise. I mean, he's opened a couple of balls out. Okay, there's still 2 or 3 tied up there, but Albi has that choice of ball in hand. Now, if he's got the angle in this 12, and he has, well, immediately Albinario is on the spot to get these nudged open. And suddenly, the rack looks dead if you're in OnePocketSlim's corner. One shot right on the money on that 12 ball with a nice little angle, a nice firm stunt, and all his troubles are over for the rest of this rack. So 13 takes him to 4. He's got a wide open 11 ball, loads of room to see the 4, and it's a long road back for Albinario, for Slim. Well, look what happened there. Slim broke out he broke out a couple of balls, and Albinario within 2 shots has got the rack won. You know, that shot that Slim played right into Albinario's hands. He improved a couple of balls. There was still that little cluster of 3, and what did Albinario do? Got himself spot on the ball to play the breakout on the troublesome cluster, and the rack was done and dusted. It was all over. I mean, this is it's top class from Albinario in getting the job done, but it's Albinario's gave Slim more than enough warnings to be keeping this really tight, as tight as he can, and it's so difficult to do. But as you said, Cobra, he's got to wind it in and try and prolong this match, try and frustrate Albinario a bit more. And there's been none of that, or very little evidence of it, and Albinario just seems immune to it for the time being, at least in this match. And Slim's making the mistakes, making the errors, and Albinario's just been all over them like a rash. And it's bits and pieces that Slim's had. So, the easy one ball for cribbage number 3. We've got the 13 ball in the middle of the table up top. We've got the 12 ball down here, but you've got to get in the gap to go on the 3. You've got an open 11 and a 4, so this rack should be over in theory. You know, he takes the 11, he takes the 4, but it's all to do with whether he... I mean, I wouldn't think he's playing to get on the 3 here. He could play a 2 in one shot if he wanted to, because he's bound to still see the 12, but he's not even going down that route. The only thing with this is he's got to get in a spot within this gap. He doesn't want to end up down here. He wants to be here, so he's fine. And this will give him at least another rack in the board, prolong the match a wee bit longer. But things needed to turn in Slim's favour of the break a long time ago. An hour and a half ago it needed to. And there's no evidence of it happening now either. It's dry again. Now we have a possible 8-7. Everything's awkward again in this rack. No sooner do you look at one ball and you look for the crib ball and it's tied up or it's sitting blocked. So now he's going to go cut, come across and back across for the 8. Now where does he go next? If he drops this in dead weight, he's going to leave a dicey little cut in the 13. If he wants to try and sneak that up the rail and then cut the 2 in. The 14 ball's no good there because the one's up the top end of the table pretty much dead. You've got the 3 sitting there, and the 12 ball is in the middle of the table up there. That's a possibility. It's going to be a little draggy stun shot just like that to hold a line for the 12. And again, suddenly this rack has opened up. That little nudge, everything's freed up. The only problem is the 1 and the 11. So 2-13 gives Albinario, or will give Albinario, his 3rd cribbage. He's got the 5 at one end, the 10 at the other. What ball's that that's up there? Right. Yeah, the 9 and 6 are available. The 9's just awkward down this end, so everything's just slightly awkward. And you've just got to be good at moving the cue ball to keep this going. And this is going to be crib number 4. And he's just trying to hold the pace off the cue ball for the 9 and 6. And he's going to be on the hill. And again, it just took one shot and one little nudge. And Albinario had everything available that he needed to see this rack out. Well, the nightmare could be over. Albinario's had a ball in the break. I don't know what it was. Find out in a sec. It was the 8 ball. And would you believe it? He can see the 7. He can pot the 7. And this match is finished. And every ball is available one way or another. And this is a finished match, folks. I'll have a quick drink. So as I say, we'll have an update on the stats before we call it a night. And again, it's just about keeping your house in order. Pot your crib ball before you pot it. Look where you're going next, and everything falls into place. Suddenly the game becomes a lot easier when you're sticking to the rules of how you should go about things. Well, it's going to be 12-3. He just needs to get out into the table. He's going around the corner, but it's the same end result. Wide open in the 3. He's got a 5-10 to follow. 5 into the same pocket, 10 into the side. Or is that the 14? Let me have a look. Because my eyes at this time of night don't know what's what. It's a 10, so that will give him cribbage number 4, and then it's take your pick. Now this is definitely a run out. Drop the 10 in, take the 11 down the rail, and take the 4 next to the 6 would seem to be the order of the day here. But let's be honest, he can put the cue ball wherever he wants. But that seems the simplest thing to do. Drop the 10 in, dead weight, roll the 4 in, and roll the 11. But he's going to try and do it the fancy way. And well, he's almost got himself in trouble on that 9, but you can see it. And he didn't have to do that. He could have just kept it entirely simple and rolled the 10 in, finished on the 4, rolled the 4 in, and finished with the 11. He wanted to do it the hard way. And sayonara, he's missed the 6. Well, what a numpty Albinario is. That was the numptiest choice of shots this evening by him, because he's made something so simple bloody hard when he didn't need to. And now Slim's potting the ball that he should have potted, and he's going to follow it up with the final cribbage ball that Albinario should have been potting. Bloody stupid. I mean, the inevitable's going to come, but we should have been looking at the stats right now. Just trying to be fancy at the end when he didn't need to be. He could have kept it nice and simple, and he chose to try and do it the cocky way and move the cue ball, and then got himself funny, and now he feels such an idiot. Well, I'll tell you something. If this was in a 9-ball championship with winner breaks, he'd feel an even bigger numpty. even though he's got a 6-rack lead. Not a 6-rack lead, what is it, an 8-rack? I can't count, a 9-rack lead. Because if it was winner break 9-ball, he could have made a complete hash there. It's asking a lot to get 9 runouts in a row in VP4 in 9-ball. But Slim still has to pot this 15-ball and hold the line for it into the opposite corner pocket to get another consolation rack in the board. And again, nothing doing for Slim. And once again, the table does not look bad. He can drop the is that the 10 or the 12 over the side? That's the 10. He can nick that and then come out for the 5, although he has to just be careful with the control of the shot. He's looking at the 3. I think he's just still studying the table, but I mean that's one shot. He's played the 8. He's got the straight and 7. And what we got up here, we've got the 13s there, but the 2s are up the table. That 14 does go into the side if you're here. And of course the 1 ball's handy. And the 1 ball goes in past the 10, but the 10's going, so we'll attempt fate and say this should be over again. I think he's ended up dead straight in the 5. Yep. So now he's going to have to, well, presumably I would think rolling the 12 up table and taking the 3 in the side. Just roll up as far as he dare. And he's got the 3 into the side pocket. He's running the 11 for the 4 in the rail. So, I mean, again, he's had the choices there. So, the only thing he can do is hook himself behind the tip. He hasn't done that. And this will take him to his 3rd cribbage. And this match has just gone past 2 hours and, 9 minutes. So, straightforward enough. 3, little stun across for the 12 down the left rail. Well, now it's a question of whether he wants to do anything with this 14 and 1 or whether he wants to play the 13 and 2. It's obviously going to be the 13 and 2, so I think he should be looking to come out behind the 9 and around and open up the angle on this 2. Let's see, it looks as if that's what he's doing. And this will get the job done eventually, but it's happened a rack later than it should have. It should have been over the previous one. But it is a extremely comfortable win for Albinario. He's pretty much deadly, and Slim couldn't find the response. And well, he did well to end up getting 6 racks at the end of the day, because it was looking really, really bleak. As bleak enough as it is. So well done to Albinario. Very solid. And well, who's his next victim going to be? Let's have a quick look. Well, Slim is now going to be, I think, LS3's next opponent. Once this updates, if we just get the thing to refresh, he will drop down to this part of the bracket, as you'll see in a second or two, as and when the bloody thing updates. Well, I've got it set for 30 seconds, but I'll tell you what, it's taking long enough. There we go, it's taking far too long. So we've now got LS3 going to be playing Slim, and Slim's going to be battered and bruised when that match starts. And I don't think he'll be looking forward to playing LS3, because it's, I mean, you would expect it's going to be a more even match, but Albinario now is going to be playing Larry in round number 3, and we've still got the match with Tommy and Cobra, which is next week, next Wednesday, a week tonight at 18:35 British Summer Time. That match will be on. I'll be there for that one, and the winner of that match will play Machine in round number 3. And that is pretty much it as far as that goes. Quick look at the stats. It'll be interesting to see how this is shaping up. We'll go to break stats. Runouts from the break. We've got LS3 in front with 6. We've got Bedhead tied with LS3 with 6. We've got Slim in 5. We've got Cobra in 5. And surprisingly, Albinario is way down there in 3. Now, you thought that... I didn't think he'd a lot of run-outs from the break. It's just the fact that he was coming up with a number of dry breaks, and then he was getting back in, and then he was clearing up. So it's interesting that he's still stuck down there in 3. Average balls made. We've got Chico in 1.7, Bedhead in 1.5, and then there's a significant drop to Cobra on 1.14, Larry in 1.13. Obviously, these are affected by the amount of matches that people have played. Bear that in mind. Tommy in just over 1, and then Machine and Stub on 1, and then it tails off. Now, I think the other one we wanted to look at was the cribbage percentage completion, because Albinario was already well out in front in that. That's not right. That's it. Albinario is on 87.5. Cobra is on 84. So there's a 3% gap there. You've got Machine on 82.4, LS3 on 83, and Bedhead on 81, just over 81. Stub down on 80, short of 81. And then a big drop, well, not a big drop, but down to MC Clarkey, who's now out of the tournament. So the stats are there. Albinario's at the top of the stats for one reason. He's that bloody good. And he marches on. So it's been a long day for me. It was a hard match, Slim. You didn't get a lot of breaks, but you made those little errors, and they're so costly against Albinario. Really tough. Yeah. I mean the tables. They weren't. Let's just say the tables weren't very generous for you. You could have done with the odd roll of the ball, but you combine that with you making those little positional errors, everything adds up. And then, of course, you're playing a guy that's not going to give you much and not going to miss much. So it's really a tall order when it comes to that. Right. So anyway, good luck in your next match, Slim. Very well done to Albinario. Very impressive as usual, and he's going to be a strong favourite again to win his 3rd major title in a row. And who's going to stop him? It's up to the rest of the guys left in the tournament to try that. If let's face it, if Albinario is going to lose, he's going to have a bad night in terms of the way the break goes for him, how the roll of the ball goes. You need to be getting favours from Albinario if you're going to win him. You're going to beat him over the distance. Simple as that. Right, thank you all for joining. It's been a pleasure. It's been tiring, but I'm going for a coffee and watch a bit of stuff on the telly before I fall asleep. I hope to see you again, and I hope that there'll be some more matches on the live streams in the not too distant future. Those will take shape eventually, and I'll get them if I can, if they're at a time that I can fit in and make sure I'm getting to bed in time. So with that, folks, take care, stay safe, good night, and I hope you can join us again.
Good night, ladies.
Put 'em up, put 'em up.
Where's the cue ball going?
What we've got here is failure to communicate. Some men you just can't reach.
You're way off. I say you're way off this time.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.